somber week for the Hindi film industry. And it felt fitting to recall the two icons, really, of Hindi cinema who passed on this week very tragically, although they had been ill for a certain amount of time. We were all very sure that they would come out of it, and especially in their attitude and the fact that they were still actively working. We assumed that they were doing better, and so it came as a shock to everybody. And I felt that a good way to commemorate their lives, especially in this time of grave insecurity that everyone is experiencing across the globe, bad news like this can have a really devastating effect on the psychology. And I felt that one should speak of their lives in a way of celebration, in a way of understanding who they were, and the incredible contribution that they made to Hindi cinema and to the lives of those people who they touched. So I'm very, very honored to have a very special panel today. There is Aseem Chhabra. He wrote the only biography, the definitive biography on Irfan Khan. And he has been kind enough to join us and give us a little insight into his life and his work. He has, of course, interviewed Rishi Kapoor at the festival that he runs in New York, which is the Indian Film Festival of New York, and had the pleasure of interviewing him in 2011. So that's been a while, but I'm sure that they have interacted post that as well. And thank you, Aseem, for joining us.
Thank you.
And there's Sudhir Mishra, needs very little introduction, noted filmmaker who just about made it. I was afraid you forgot about this.
No, I didn't forget.
Yeah.
I started chatting with, it's true, I started chatting with Shekhar about something. Yeah.
I thought it was something like that. And so finally, I got through to you and you figured it out and you're here with us. Of course, both of them. Irfan, you have collaborated with, and Rishi Kapoor, of course, you've known because you've been part of the same fraternity for so many.
I almost worked with Chindu. I almost worked with him. We did Merunissa. We were 5 days to the shooting when something happened.
That's right.
So I kind of, I did the prep work with him. So, but
That's right. Your audio is a little low, so maybe you can increase the volume on your computer. And of course, our surprise guest for the day is Suhail. Suhail, of course, knows Rishi Kapoor personally. And I was very moved by his post, and I sent him an invite to this talk. And I said, what if? I didn't know, because, they're such good friends. Sometimes when it's so close to a tragedy like that, you're not really up to speaking about that person in public. And I can understand that. But he was such close friends with Rishi. So I, on a lark, asked him, I said, what if, you came on? And he was, and he said, yes. So thank you, Suhail, because I know the relationship you had with him was a very close one, a very deep one, and this is a huge personal loss for you. We feel it so much, having known him just as viewers and, worked with, like I've worked with his son, so I kind of have that connection. But for you, it must be a very personal loss. I appreciate you joining us to share some of your memories with him. And interestingly, he told me yesterday, and I didn't know this, and on my other computer, which was working, but the audio isn't, I managed to download the clip. Aseem, worked with Irfan in Rogue.
In Rogue, yes.
Yes, and it's a very good clip. You wouldn't, think those kind of, with Irfan Khan in the same frame. But I must say, Suhail held his ground in that one clip, at least the one he sent me. And so let's just really, I think we can start with Irfan and then move on to Rishi. I think that would be the correct way to do it. So Aseem, why did you want to write on Irfan?
The thing is, when you want to write about somebody, a biography, you end up spending 2+ years with the person, not physically necessarily, but thinking, writing about them, reading about them, watching their films. So it has to be somebody you really care for. I wrote a book on Shashi Kapoor. That was the first book I wrote, because I really, really liked Shashi Kapoor. I was a huge fan. And likewise, I was a huge fan of Irfan. I've been a fan of Irfan for really a long time. The thing was that, who's this? That was a surprise guest.
Yes.
Somebody's entering.
I must warn you all, since we go live, a lot of people start logging on during the program as well.
Okay.
So you'll see the numbers kind of go up and people come on, but don't let that distract you.
Right. No, the good thing is I wrote the book on Irfan. The unfortunate thing is that by the time I signed my contract in the spring of 2018, like a couple of months, I think it was March, April or something, he had just announced that he had the tumor and then he was gone. I didn't even know which country he was in. So I was able to communicate with him. We emailed, we WhatsApped. I spoke to him on WhatsApp and he was in London. Unfortunately, he was not in a place to give an interview to me for the book. He was very generous. He wanted to know more about what the book was about, because in the past, Irfan has been approached by other publishers to write his own autobiography, or some people want to write his biography. And I was told that he was always dead against it. But I think he was in a very different place. That shock of the medical, the report and the tumor. So he said, he wanted me to talk to some people. He said, Shekhar Kapoor se baat karo. मैं जानना चाहता हूँ शेखर कपूर के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But he said, AIB वालों से बात करो. He had done this really wacky video with the AIB people. He gave me names of other people. His drama school teacher, Prasanna, he gave me his contact, who's now in the South. A college friend of his who I would have never known about, a man called Varun Gautam, who Irfan knew in Jaipur when they were in college before Irfan came to NSD, and Varun and Irfan used to act in plays together, and then Varun's in Bombay, so I had a wonderful... And Irfan then recommended some interviews with him that he thought were very good, that he wanted me to read. So he was very generous in that sense, and then I WhatsApped him a few times with some questions, or can you talk to somebody, and he was very helpful. Alas, I wasn't able to talk to him, and I really, really regret it. But the thing was that...
what kind of inspired you? I know, you follow films very closely. You run a very reputed film festival. You critique. What was it about? He was the actor of his generation. Do you kind of agree with that? And was that part of it? Part of the reason why he intrigued you so much?
I found there are several performances of Irfan that have moved me so much. I mean, everyone's talking about Namesake, for instance. I mean, I think it's an exceptional performance at any kind of world standard, really. Lunchbox, some of the work he did in Bollywood, Pan Singh Tomar. I found those performances so... I mean, I've gone back to those films again and again, even before I had decided to write the book, that I was very, very curious to understand what is Irfan's process. In fact, Sudhir is sitting here. I interviewed him also, because he directed. And that was the question I kept asking every director, like, how did he take directions, some specific scenes? How did Irfan perform those scenes? I think that was, to me, it was very interesting and important. And I thought that Irfan's fans and readers would also like that. And that's what I wanted to reach at. I mean, when you write a biography, of course, you try and track the person's life as much as possible, as much as information you can gather from talking to people. I was very fortunate that quite a few of Irfan's classmates and teachers from NSD, for instance, Tigmanshu and Meeta Vashishnal, they had lovely memories. So I wanted those memories, of course, because people didn't know about all of that. But to me, it was understanding this great actor. We know he's a great actor. What makes him so great, and how does he absorb even simple directions from directors, and how does he then become the character that they ask him to, that he's supposed to become?
That's really beautiful. I mean, Sudhir, you of course spoke with Asim on his book. What was the the whole? When did you first meet him? Actually, let's just start there. When did you first meet Irfan?
I don't know. I'm not. I have to confess that all of us did not recognize Irfan's talent in the beginning. So for a long time, he was forced to do all sorts of work in order to just stick around, persevere, so that he could later do the work that he did. So, I mean, I met him. I was making Dharavi in 91. A young man came to meet me, and I had already cast the film. and I mean, I was quite fascinated by it. But then Rajan Kothari made a film called Purush, in which that's one of his early, slightly bigger parts, which my wife Renu edited. I mean, he kind of, Nasir writes about him very well when he says that, he was never, when he met you right in the beginning, he was polite, never ingratiating, very confident. It was as if, I'm an actor, you're a director, it can work, I mean, this can work, right? And Irfan was, I mean, I find it very difficult to talk about him like that because I later got to know him really well and we were neighbors and everything. Let us say both Rishi Kapoor and Irfan were not bores, right? They were very exciting, interesting people, right? If they heard us talk like this, Rishi Kapoor would be laughing his guts out on the ground, Hey, shut the hell up, he would be saying, idiot, make a bloody scotch for me. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, they were really, both of them were, I mean, Irfan right from the beginning, when I met him, I thought he was trying to, in a sense, discover himself, discover life. Every role, every story, he's very interested in stories. I mean, you meet him and he want to narrate, he'll say, Kahani kya hai, sir? Kahani bata, kahani bata. He was more interested in what you were exploring and some human experience. He began as a boy from Jaipur, Tong, and then ended up being this international actor. Rishi Kapoor starts as this lover boy, becomes this, fascinating person who's totally fearless. You can make him do anything. You want him to do a gay part, to help with it. He's going to play it, right? You want to play this evil guy, he's going to play it. He's totally fearless, right? And totally blunt. And both Irfan and Irfan in a more subtle way, polite way, very clear about his likes and dislikes. Rishi Kapoor, I mean, Sohail can tell you a lot about it. I mean, I remember coming off a stage, having given an actor a Best Actor award. And as I came down the stage, my phone rang. And Rishi Kapoor told me, aren't you ashamed of yourself for giving that award? You think that was a performance? I mean, I didn't give sorry, sir, I didn't, choose. I was on the jury. I was just asked the award. Oh, do you think, I'm not going to work with you if you thought that was a performance? It wasn't,
Yeah.
That's how he was, I mean, really, discovering, I mean, he was Raj Kapoor's son. He was very proud of it. He was very proud of his grandfather, but he was very polite with the youngest director. See, they were professionals as well, they were professionals. So they had this demarcation. You're the director. I want to think of a look for my character, but I'll ask you. I'll put on the mustache and I'll send you a photograph. Do you think that's fine, sir? Right. No, Rishi Kapoor's asking you that. I mean, he's telling you things. So you say, I mean, sir, I mean, I think you know a bit more than me about this one. Yeah, fascinating people, stories, both discovering themselves, both, going out on a limb all the time, even in conversation, in opinions, not scared. Let's say the wrong thing. I mean, to hell with it and then say, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I mean, come on. I thought I went a bit over the top. Really, I mean, it was okay. But both taking risks in life, in performance, that was the wonderful thing about both of them. And so, I mean, they're exciting, interesting people. And Irfan's, I mean, he was always trying to be open to the moment. He's came from theatre, but was a brilliant. He took to cinema really amazingly well. So, I mean, he was interested in the whole process, the film, the lighting, the sound. He knew he was somewhat like a storyteller. And acting was his contribution to the performance. So, the very important thing about a cinema actor is he knows when to act. He knows when not to act. It's a long shot. There's trees in the background. There's the sun setting, and he knows there's music. He knows that he just has to stand. Right. Only question he is asking is, why are you taking this shot? How is it part of the story? How does it take this forward? And then even though these are two very arrogant is the wrong word, but self-confident, blunt people. They're but very, very graceful with the smallest actor. Irfan was never interested in his performance. He was confident that he'd do it. He was very interested. He had prepared. He had thought. But he was equally interested in scene. If he thought that the moment should go to the smaller actor in the scene, he would tell you. He would nudge you. He would tell you to look at the guy. Look at what he's doing. Then that smile would come, and he would say, कितना अच्छा है सर, ये कमाल कर रहा है सर, देखो ना इसको, देखो, amazing grace, and both of them had amazing grace. Both of them were very exciting. Both of them were people like people should be, and both of them exposed themselves, warts and all. They were there open for you to see. You like it, you don't like it. This is who we are.
Correct.
In different ways, and Sohail can really go on about. He gave me the benefit. I remember meeting him last on the 2nd of April. My father passed away, and he sent me a message. And I thought he'd sent me a message from New York saying that I'm cancer free. And then I met him in Amit Khanna's book launch, and he seemed fine. He rushed past me and said, "Come and see me, Come on, you haven't come and seen me." And then, when I called, they didn't answer, and then this happened. This was, this is will be my regrets that I didn't work with this magnificent actor called Rishi Kapoor. And it was my good fortune to have worked with Irfan, and we would have done another film together. But I did work with him again, with Irfan again, though in an Amazon series, which we were doing, which was written by AIB. And he loved the AIB boys. He loved Khamba. And he was trying something totally different in that. He was playing an ex-Punjabi actor who becomes a minister by mistake.
Government, right?
Really wild satire, and he was
finished almost half of our cabinet.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful, he was in the top of the game, and I was supposed to kind of direct the first 2 episodes, and unfortunately the thing didn't get complete, but we did 30-40 days of the shoot. That was the last thing he was doing just before he fell sick, so we only did half of it. But, he was, when I was working with him, I was totally awestruck. It's a younger junior minister standing in front of the god of the party. So that we place him in the opposite chair to the god of the party. But he says, that's not where I should be. I should be right behind. So Sunday is sitting right behind, and he's allowing the other actor to sit there. And then you see the frame and you say, wow, this is perfect, right? Because this is the relationship here. He was fascinating, and the way he was trying to experiment with himself now, trying to do this spoofy comedy, trying to do everything. The way he was kind of exploring himself, trying to, it's almost like hitting himself on the head and knocking something else emerging, always, trying to enter and butt into life and figure out something else. So even the sickness, he told me that, I would have not understood life if not for this. So I was so upset when he died, because these 6-7 years post this sickness, if he had worked, I think you would have seen something amazing. So you would have seen something else, because he was at the top of his craft, understanding, grace. He had taken this sickness like a kind of a life lesson, like a necessary lesson, that he would not have understood this gamut of existence if not. This is the way it made him get the whole business of life. I think he would have been fascinated, unfortunately.
Yeah. Nothing to say, really. Except to regret the fact that we got to him also too late, like you rightly started off by saying. that when it came to Irfan, I don't think, we recognized his talent quite as early and easily as Western cinema did. And it was to their benefit because he's left a body of work in Western cinema as well. I mean, be it movies that have made it in BAFTAs and Oscars. I mean, he's right there in those films. Incredible. I guess his choices of characters, to be able to have picked these kind of characters that just were not character.
Two Indian directors who grasp have worked with him in the beginning and sort of were fascinated by his talent and used him. Use is a wrong word, but collaborated with him in the beginning were Tikmanshu Dhulia knew him like nobody else. They were brothers.
Right.
So if you saw Hasil, if you saw Pan Singh Tomar and later Sahab Bibik, Gangster.
Gangster 2, yeah.
And then if you saw Maqbool and you saw Saat Khoon Maaf and you saw Haider, right? So I think his performance in Haider as that Ruda is a very underrated performance. Just the character is brilliant. I mean, just the imagination of the ghost as this disappeared militant, is just the thought of it is amazing. But the adaptation and the way Irfan plays it, is really stunning.
Right.
You know what's really, we would love to hear from Suhail Seth also really. But what's amazing is that, Irfan never sort of felt threatened. He was so comfortable in being who he is and his craft. I mean, Haider, he has a small supporting role. Saat Khoon Maaf, all the actors had supporting roles. It was Priyanka Chopra's film. But Haider, he had a small supporting role. K.K. Menon had such a big role. Of course, it was Shahid's film. And yet, Irfan always... I never felt that the attention will be taken away from him, and then given the chance, Irfan was probably the brightest thing, character in the whole film, but he never felt threatened by younger actors or other actors of his own, his own peers. Remarkable, really. I don't know how many other Bollywood actors would want to do that.
Right. Suhail, you actually worked with him right at the beginning of so-called one of his first films in Hindi cinema after that long wait. What was that experience like?
So that was Irfan's first film as a hero. It was Mahesh Bhatt's production. Pooja was heavily involved. There was a director, but he was Naam Ke Vaste, someone called Himanshu. We don't know who he was. So on the first day of the shoot, I remember Irfan, and in those days we didn't have access to Google, blah, blah, blah. So we just got talking because I was playing the villain, he was playing the hero. He plays a police officer in Rogue. And he kept talking about Calcutta because he's married to a Bengali. So we exchanged notes on theater because, I've done tons of plays in Calcutta along with directors that had come to NSD to work with him. People like Badal Sarkar, P. Lal, that lot. So when we got talking, the three things that struck me, and here I have to give credit to both Mahesh and Pooja, they allowed us a free run qua the script. Because in many sentences, and this is the labor aspect of Hindi scripting, is to state the obvious far too often. Like, if there's a car, then the hero has to say, "Aao meri gaadi mein baith jao." It's not ki "Aao baitho." What the Bhatts allowed us to do was use our theater background to actually simplify, make the scenes more real. And what I found in Irfan was that same level of, I won't say method acting, the rigor to be relevant and to be honest to the script. And I want to pause here for a minute. Since then I've done some work with people like Zoya or Sanjay Leela Bansali and all of that in Hindi cinema. Everyone has their own, strengths and weaknesses. The beauty about Irfan was that he was the most prepared actor when he came on set, which was such a huge relief. Now we had 2 or 3 jokers as part of the film who would never, even if they had to say, "Ha, aaye," even those lines they would forget. But I remember whenever Irfan and I were in a scene, it was almost always a 1 take, maximum 2 take scene. So there was a lot of joy and there was a lot of happiness in doing those scenes. And there was a lot of discussion. For instance, towards the end, I get killed in the film, much to the relief of, I think, almost every Indian. So when that happened, I remember the discussions that we had in terms of, not to make it go over the top, not to do things that would seem filmy, but to do things that would seem real. So, Sudhir alluded to it, Asim talked about it. Irfan was a real human being, even when he was on set. Because ultimately, cinema, and the two gentlemen you have there, Asim and Sudhir, know far more than I do about cinema. But whether it's cinema or theater, you have to divorce yourself not from your own reality, but you have to inject your own realism, your own sense of purpose into the role you play. So let's imagine if I'm playing Brutus, I have to understand that stoicism and integrity and honor are part of my character, which is why I think his NSD background, his theater background, his rootedness, his powers of observation were amazing. And if you see Rogue, the film tanked for various reasons, but if you see Rogue, you will see the blossoming of Irfan and Irfan's brevity as an actor. His brevity in terms of stating not the obvious, but allowing his eyes to speak. So there were times when Mahesh Bhatt, Irfan and I, over cigarettes and booze, would sit back after a day and actually reminisce about, the great directors. And I used to talk to them about Mrinal Sen, who never believed in a bound script. So I did Ek Din Achanak with Mrinal Sen ages ago, before most of you guys were born. And that was with Shabana and Anjan Dutt. And Mrinal Sen never believed in a script. He says, look, this is what you have to emote. Say what you want. And, we look at the dubbing later. The beauty about Irfan was his humanism, his realism. And here's the tragedy. Asim alluded to 2018. This is when the inflection point happened, qua his illness. We were all in London, and there was a big dinner at Jamevar, which was this new restaurant that had opened on Mount Street. So Shutopa was there, Babel was there, Irfan was there, I was there, Javed Saab, Shabana. I think there was a bunch of people there. And we were yakking and we were laughing, we were talking about the good times. Because in 2016 or 2017, Asim will bear me right or wrong, I get a call from Irfan saying, where are you for the next 2 days after a week? So I said, I haven't understood. Arey, ek hafte ke baad 2 din tum kab free ho? I said, kyun? He says, I've been asked to play a role in Jurassic World or whatever it was, where he plays the owner, the rich guy. So I said, damn good. So he said, nahi, I want to follow you. Tum bhi thora arrogant aadmi hai, ye wo style se jata hai. To main tumhare piche piche aunga. I said, boss, are you mad? I'm not going to take you for client meetings to Mr. Tata or to, I said, nahi. So he says, to mere ko bolo fir kaise hota hai? I said, you know this better than I do. I said, just look at, God forbid, I said, look at the way Malia behaves or look at the way those guys behave. I said, you should follow those guys, don't tail me. And we had a 2.5-hour conversation in terms of what he wanted to play that character as. So the rigor, the meticulousness, the fastidiousness with which he approached his craft was worthy not only of emulation, it was worthy of being cherished. Cut to Rishi Kapoor. Completely insane. I can, for the lack of time and for polite company, I will not tell you the stuff that happened between him and me. And so we had a ritual. The ritual was 8 p.m. we meet at his home. So initially his house was on Pali Hill. Then he had to renovate it and all that. One day after 26/11 happened, I was on Arnab Goswami's show where I was blasting Manmohan Singh and Shivraj Patil, which in those days was a very easy thing to do. We didn't live in these kind of times where if you blasted them, you'd be put out to dry. So I blasted them. Suddenly I got a call. Swell, Rishi Kapoor. I said, huh? Rishi Kapoor, sunai nahi de raha? I said, huh. Dabbu gave me your number. Where are you? I said, I'm in Delhi. When are you coming to Bombay? Cut long story short, I arrive in Bombay. I still remember this was around 2000, just after 26/11 happened, about a week or 10 days later. So I arrived at his Pali Hill bungalow, and you had to go down the steps, and there was a den which had a bar, it had a television screen, and it only obviously had bottles of booze.
You had all those crosses, do you remember?
Correct. So there was Dabbu and me and Chintu. Chintu said, "What do you have?" I said, "Vodka." Here, boom. One bottle of Grey Goose in front of me. One bottle of Black Label in front of Dabbu, one bottle of Black Label in front of himself. I said, "Boss, I can't finish the whole bottle." Arey, lambi raat hai. After that, we'll go to Royal China for dinner. Neetu walked down, opened the door into this den and said, "Oh my God, this is going to be trouble." Shut the door and disappeared. She had to go to some bachelorette party. We finished at 4:30 in the morning. And that was the genesis of an enduring friendship. After that, then he moved home because he was staying in this place next to Elko in Bandra. And that was his temporary residence. And one has been there umpteen times. And there would be the same cast of characters. There would be Prem Chopra. There would be Dabbu. There'd be Kunal Kapoor, Shashi's son. There'd be me. And then if he decided, he might invite one or two people. So one evening he decided to have a Bori dinner, where he got this Bori kitchen chap from South Bombay to come and cater. We drank. Everyone forgot about the dinner. Then suddenly we realized, oh my God, there's dinner. And I still remember Ranbir coming back from wherever he had gone to say, "You guys, have any of you eaten?" I said, "No." He says, "Oh my God, I'm leaving." Ranbir was deeply scared of his dad, scared and respectful. After that, obviously, then, I launched his book in Delhi. I did his London launch. In London, my mom is now 77. It was her birthday about 3 or 4 years ago on June the 12th. This guy in Belgravia, it's a civilized city, London. Suddenly he looks at my mom, hugs her. "Ji, ab main aapke liye gaana gaunga. Happy birthday to you." And this was in Belgravia. People were like kind of keeling over and dying that we might get, notices from the council. But that's who he was. In New York, I remember Jaitley Arun was undergoing his cancer treatment at the same time as Rishi was. And Rishi was very wary of meeting Jaitley, because at that time Jaitley was finance minister, blah, blah, blah. So I told him, I said, "Boy, just come. Jaitley is not interested in politics. He's not interested in anything. He will only talk to you about food." And I have to tell you, those were brilliant evenings. So one evening there was Neetu, Jaitley, Dolly, Jaitley's wife, myself, my wife Lakshmi, Neetu, Reema Jain. And Jaitley loved those evenings. And they developed a relationship which is unimaginable. So when Rishi passed, when Chintu passed, Dolly called me up saying, "Do you have any photographs of that evening, of those evenings?" I said, "No." She's saying, "You know how much Arun used to love him." I said, "Yeah." And it is what it is. And I only remember one place where his largeness of life took a dip. Because one evening, he and I, because we were discussing Blue Ribbon Fried Chicken in New York, and he told me, he's saying, "Pata nahi, mere ko kyun hua? Why did this have to happen to me? Why did this have to happen to me?" That was the only time I sensed a tinge of bitterness, of dissatisfaction with one's maker, and the feeling that he had been let down. But that's who he was. I mean, he was larger than life. He was blunt as hell. On the 1st of April this year, that was his last direct tweet. He tweets to me saying, "I think Andrew Cuomo should be the next president of the United States of America." But he was an opinionated guy. And that's how he lived his life. And he was core, he was central to the family. He was family centric. And I have to say, Neetu was the perfect soulmate he had. Neetu tempered his idiosyncrasies with great fortitude and with great elan, with panache, because he was a tough guy to handle. Very, very tough guy to handle. I mean, I can go on and on, but I'd leave that. I remember our evenings at Otters Club with just Dabbu, him, myself. And we've spent several evenings and days together. And one will miss him terribly. But one relishes the fact that he left us with so many happy memories.
I think it's incredible. I mean, to have really spent time with two people, larger than life people, be it Arun Jaitley or Rishi Kapoor, from very different walks of life, in the fight of their lives, and they fought many battles.
And both were lovers of Hindi cinema. I mean, Rishi was Hindi cinema, but Jaitley was an encyclopedia on Indian cinema. So he would tell Jaitley how scared he was to go on the sets when Prithviraj Ji was acting, and what his dad used to tell him, and the whole Mera Naam Joker. So there was a lot of bonhomie between the two. And as you rightly say, they were two disparate human beings. But that's how life is.
Asim, you tweeted a very interesting episode with Rishi Kapoor, which I retweeted, wherein, it was his, I think it was your festival in 2011, where he admonished you on stage.
Yes, well, I got it's. I actually wrote a piece on Rishi 2 days ago. That as a teenager, he was a few years older than me. As a teenager, I was such a huge fan. I mean, I remember from the time where I saw Mera Naam Joker, where I saw Bobby. I was such a big fan, and I didn't realize that one day I will actually get to know him personally. I mean, I wasn't that. We showed Do Duni Char. It was the opening night film at our festival in 2011. And we invited both Rishi and Neetu to come for the festival. And they came. But before that, in fact, going back, I was in Bombay. Our festival is usually in May. I was in Bombay in March, and Rishi wanted to meet us. And he took us to Royal China for lunch in Bandra. And I saw, for the first time, I saw the star in him. Like, stuff. I began to realize, I mean, Rishi was very, very charming, but I also began to realize that Rishi was very difficult at times. Especially in New York, we sensed that. And as Sohail said, I also sensed that it was really Neetu Singh who kept him in balance. So he was joking as such. I remember actually the question I asked him was, what was the first time he landed on the set at Mera Naam Joker, the fact that his father was directing him, what was that experience like? And he's like, "Arey, what kind of question is this, Asim? I expected better than you." So I turned to, sure the audience would like to know that. And they were like, yeah. And then he laughed, of course. So he had this habit. But I had many other experiences with Rishi after that, because he had my phone number. Every time he would pass by New York, I would see on my cell phone, it would say Rishi Kapoor. And I would say, "Hello, Rishi ji." And he would say, "Yaar, tum mujhe Rishi ji kyun kehte? Mujhe Rishi bulao." I said, "Rishi bulate hain."
So Hindi में भी कह दीजिए ये थोड़ा बहुत.
हाँ नहीं वो
Rishi Kapoor was very proud of the fact. The Kapoors always talk about. They never say my father. He would say Raj Kapoor. Right, Shami Kapoor, Shashi Kapoor, Prithviraj Kapoor. They were talking to them as they were known to about them as they were known to the audience.
I know.
And he was very, very proud of the fact that he was the only actor, perhaps, who had done 3 films with Raj Kapoor.
Correct.
Right. And he must have had something, he thought, because, Raj Kapoor won't repeat him just because he was his son. Right? Because it was Raj Kapoor. I mean, you don't act in Raj Kapoor's films just because you're his son. So, I mean, he was really proud. I mean, I remember one evening when, I used to often sort of try and provoke a conversation from him. If you kind of tease him a bit, after a little pause, then he comes at you, right? So I told him one day, about some film that Rajji had acted in, somebody else apparently had directed. I knew the stories behind it, so I told him what that other person had directed it very well. He kept it looking at me after a while, and then he said, "You think that guy directed it?" Raj Kapoor reshot the entire film. He acted in a film to make money, and at night he reshot the entire film. Right? I mean, he was really proud of his dad. Really, really. And he went too soon, but he a couple of times he's said that with regret in front of me that Rajji went too soon. Right? And now he's gone too soon, right? But he was quite, he was an amazing, it's so sad, odd, you can't use the word sad when you talk about Rishi Kapoor, but it's very sad that he went when he was really discovering himself. He was on a roll. He had found, finally he thought, here he is exploring, and this was a new innings, and he was so excited about being on a set, about acting, about, doing all sorts of films and working with new directors, it's like he was like a newcomer. I mean, he could also put you in your place when he thought, you deserved it. I mean, so he wasn't like I said, not a bore at all, but it was, he could, I never minded. I mean, he's the only person whom I didn't mind getting abused by.
Yeah, but Advaita, that
Yes.
was him.
One quick intervention. If anyone has any questions, please type them in the chat box.
So Advaita, he was the quintessential, as we would in Punjabi say, he was a pangebaz. He would love to take a panga, and the first people he took a panga with would be the people he was closest to. So like he would rip Prem Chopra, he would rip Jeetu, he would rip Rakesh Roshan, then he would come to his family, then to, the other circle of friends. But everyone knew that the guy was harmless.
Absolutely.
I saw a very interesting side to him over the years. And I noticed this post 2611. Over the years, he was deeply concerned even about the political situation of India and, whether it was nationalism, whatever it was. And he was a deeply concerned guy. I remember one evening, I think the Sea Link was being inaugurated. And I think Mr. Bachchan was there and some other people were there. I don't know what the cast of characters there was at the inauguration. But I remember him calling me that evening. Hey, Rajiv Gandhi, कितने सालों से मर गया है? कितना चलाओगे उसका नाम? Airport उसकी माँ का है, ये उसका है, ये उसका है. Why don't they say Raj Kapoor International Airport? ये वो. So I said, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Next day, there's a flurry of tweets from Rishi.
Yes.
Saying,
Yes.
blah, blah. So I always said he was the angry old man because he was pissed with most things. Once he went to this fabulous restaurant in New York, and the next day I got a call. Such shit food. I haven't had such shitty food. So it didn't matter who you were, what your station in life was. You could expect Rishi Kapoor to be Rishi Kapoor, which is brutally honest and completely unforgiving if there was a laxity in standards of excellence. That's who he was.
Yeah. Irfan was also like that.
But Irfan was more polite.
Much more polite. He would kind of walk away from an argument. He would, politely would say what he did, and it was quite caustic. I mean, I've known Irfan in very many ways, in many, evenings where we've had a bit too much, and it wasn't, he could tell you, I mean, things about yourself, in a way which was.
He was sarcastic and
He was very sarcastic,
satirical.
and he was an explorer. Irfan wasn't a foodie. As opposed to Rishi ji, he always told me that his mother used to say कि पठान के घर मारवाड़ी पैदा हुआ. He was more or less vegetarian. The last time, just before he fell sick, because I was working with him, I had lunch with him 3 or 4 times. It was always very, very lightly cooked vegetarian food. He was maybe the sickness was, there was something, his body was telling him something. But, he was more interested in experience. Like we were shooting Ye Sali Zindagi and we couldn't shoot for 3-4 days because it kind of snowed in Manali. So he went away to the forests. And then there's a guy called Abhishek Ray, and he used to go with him and explore Corbett and things like that. He was very interested in experience, in something, nudging something else in his head. In him becoming better, in him becoming understanding. He was always trying to, become something, become a better person in a sense, or more evolved, or a better actor. And it was not through a craft that he thought it would come. It would come through experience and knowledge and people and observation and you know, it's an
But
exploration of
I think there's a question here for Asim ji. They want to know that which performance of Irfan would be rated at his best, and what was his relationship with Tigmanshu Dhulia like? This is Deepankar Dhondiyal asking this question.
So I think I will very clearly answer that. I think his best performance definitely was as Ashok Ganguly in Meera Nair's namesake. The way he took that pain of a man trying to communicate with his son, for instance, and to explain to his son what that book and the Gogol character meant to him. And the gentleness in which Meera sort of explored the love and the relationship and the marriage between Tabu's character and Irfan's character. I mean, they're so beautiful, romantic. There's a gorgeous scene toward the middle of the film when Irfan's character is going to leaving for Cleveland. He gets a job there to teach. And just before that, Ashima and Ashok are sitting and they're having tea. They're just drinking tea. And very quietly and politely, and Meera actually told me she had observed her in-laws like that. And that was their way of expressing love, just having chai next to each other. And, you know, there are so many moments in the film that you see Irfan just tilts his head, gives a sly smile. I mean, Irfan was blessed to have those deep sort of brooding eyes he had, and he used those in so many films. Amazing performances. His relationship with Tigmanshu Dhulia, they were very, very close friends, very, very, very close friends. They met at the National School of Drama. Tigmanshu was a year or two junior to him. And they bonded over initially over conversations about Hollywood films. Irfan had come from Jaipur, although Jaipur is not a small town, it was quite provincial, and hadn't had the kind of exposure to actors like Robert De Niro and Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. So I think Tigmanshu fed a lot of that knowledge to him. And that friendship remained very strong. I mean, even at the point when Tigmanshu was doing casting for Bandit Queen, and he saw an article about this other dacoit called Pan Singh Tomar, and decided he's going to make this is in 1994. And he said to Irfan that when I make this film, I'm going to cast you. That film took more than another decade to make.
So it was a jugalbandi of sorts.
Yeah, in fact,
very much for many long years.
Irfan's first lead role in The Warrior, which is a British production shot in
Asif
India.
Kapadia.
Asif Kapadia's film. Again, Tigmanshu is the one who got him the role, basically, and that sort of helped Irfan to take off.
It seems एक रिपोर्ट भी आई थी कि तिग्मांशु धूलिया ने उनको एक बारी जब वो सोच रहे थे कि मैं एक्टिंग छोड़ दूंगा, तब उन्होंने उनसे कहा था कि अभी मत छोड़ो, तुम्हें एक दिन नेशनल अवार्ड मिलेगा, और फिर मिला भी, और वही फिल्म पे मिला, पान सिंह तोमर के लिए मिला, जो तिग्मांशु धूलिया ने
तिग्मांशु को भी उसी के लिए नेशनल अवार्ड
किया था उसका। जी
नहीं, इरफान ने
दोनों भाई हैं।
अच्छा।
मतलब वो लोग एक दूसरे को कुछ भी कह सकते, वो रिश्ते में कोई संकोच जिसको कहते हैं हिंदुस्तानी में, वो था ही नहीं।
उन्होंने कहा भी कि मैं जब इनसे मिला,
इतना खुला रिश्ता मैंने शायद ही कभी देखा। वो लोग लड़ जाएंगे रात को, सुबह बिल्कुल पता ही नहीं है कि लड़े, पता ही नहीं चलेगा। मतलब वो एक कमाल का, मतलब there was no formality at all in that relationship. It was far much more than brothers. I've very rarely seen a director-actor relationship of that level, and they could say anything, and Irfan could say no to Tishu for not do a film, and Tishu would mind, right? It was a fascinating relationship.
ये मोहित पॉल जी ने सुधीर जी सवाल किया है कि आपको क्यों लगता है कि तिग्मांशु धूलिया ने उनको साहिब बीवी गैंगस्टर सीरीज में कास्ट नहीं किया?
किया था
ना दूसरे वाले,
लास्ट वाले में ना?
नहीं, सेकंड वाले में।
एक बात और आप इरफान के बारे में जानिए, हम अगर हिंदुस्तानी में बात करेंगे कि ऐसा नहीं है, मुझे मतलब मेरे साथ काम करके कहता तो था कि बहुत खुश है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर मैं कोई भी स्क्रिप्ट लेके जाऊंगा तो हाँ करेगा।
हाँ जी,
वो बहुत ही पोलाइटली समझाते हुए कम लफ्जों में कह देगा कि मैं ये जो आप जो करना चाह रहे हैं वो मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा,
पर क्या
इस एरिया में 6 महीने मैं नहीं अब गुजारना चाहता, आप किसी और के साथ नहीं।
But did his personality change जब उनको अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर इतना सक्सेस और अटेंशन मिला? तो उनका कुछ आपको लगा आओ भाव कुछ अलग था उनमें?
देखिए, everybody should change, everybody should evolve. When you get a new experiences, it does add to your personality. But change means, did he become arrogant? Did he look down on Indian cinema? No. Did he think Manju Dhulia was a lesser director because he had worked with Tom Hanks in a film, or because he had worked with Ang Lee? No. That was the wonderful thing. He loved Ang Lee. He loved working in Slumdog. He loved working in Ace Ali. He loved working in Pan Singh. He was very fond of AIB. I found him at the top of his game doing a Amazon series which was written by All India AIB. And he loved Gursimranjit Khamba. He loved the humor of these kids. He was trying to find something new always to do. Right? That was the beautiful thing about him. Right? Which doesn't mean he didn't grow. I mean, everybody should grow, right? I mean, you can't be the boy who came from Tonk for your life. But he was the boy who came from Tonk. He came to National School of Drama, came to Bombay, did a lot of films, did international cinema, evolved as an actor, read, got exposed to. So that all added to his personality, but in a very beautiful way, in a very gentle. It was adding to what he was. It wasn't undermining what he started out as. You know what I mean? In fact, the basis didn't disappear, but it added. Floors being added to building. Very beautiful in that sense.
In fact, Asim, one quick question. Yeah. Vedansh Anand has asked about Irfan. What happened to that full-fledged gay film, Adhura? Was Irfan believed in protecting LGBTQ rights? I mean, unka wo position kya
मैंने अधूरा देखी नहीं. I heard about the film. I couldn't get hold of it. But Irfan acted as a gay character in this. Meera Nair got funding from the Gates Foundation to make these 4 short films called AIDS Jago. और मीरा ने प्रोड्यूस करी थी. पहली माइग्रेशन मीरा ने डायरेक्ट करी थी. Then one was directed by Farhan, one by Vishal Bhardwaj, and one by Santosh Sivan. So the one that Meera directed, usme Irfan acts as a gay character who's married to a woman, and he has a. So, I mean, I think he was, the question is whether he believed in protecting LGBTQ rights. Irfan was very progressive. He was very respectful of everybody's life and choices. I wanted to say one point about Irfan, by the way, when we were talking, Sudhir was talking about Hollywood and Bollywood. I don't know how many people know कि Irfan को कई बारी major Hollywood films में role मिले, जबकि he had to say no. So Ridley Scott ने उनको Martian में role दिया. उसी वक्त शुद्धि सरकार बना रहे थे Piku. And Irfan was very conflicted that should he get Martian. The Martian, he would have made a lot more money more than anything else. But he chose to do Piku. Likewise, he decided not to do Christopher Nolan's Interstellar.
Which he regretted. वो उनका regret रहा.
पर उसी वक्त लंच बॉक्स बन रही थी. देखो लंच बॉक्स में क्या शानदार परफॉर्मेंस करी उन्होंने.
हाँ, वो भी बात है. सुहेल जी, आपसे सवाल तो आया है. आपने एक ऐसी बात छेड़ दी यहाँ ऋषि कपूर जी के पंगेबाजी पे. तो अन्वेषा बोस हैं यहाँ हमारे साथ. वो पूछ रही है कि आप कोई इंसिडेंट और पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट थोड़ा इंसिडेंट कुछ बता सकते हैं?
पर उन्होंने खुद अपनी बुक लॉन्च में कहा, जिसमें असीम अटेंडेंस में थे दिल्ली में, जब उनकी और मेरी बात हुई, वी वर इन कॉन्वर्सेशन. तो एक प्रश्न मैंने उनको पूछा कि भाई आपने बच्चन साहब के साथ इतना काम किया, फिर रिश्तेदारी भी है क्योंकि उनकी बहन का लड़का निखिल इज मैरिड टू बच्चन साहब डॉटर श्वेता. तो मैंने कहा कि वो दिन कैसे थे. तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात की, पर कंट्रोवर्शियल थी ऑब्वियसली. उन्होंने कहा कि जब भी बच्चन साहब किसी को थैंक करते हैं तो हर वक्त राइटर्स को थैंक करेंगे, डायरेक्टर्स को थैंक करेंगे, पर कभी को एक्टर्स का नाम और को एक्टर का जिक्र नहीं करते. तो इससे अमर अकबर एंटनी क्या बिना अमर या अकबर के हो सकती थी? शोले बिना धर्मेंद्र के हो सकती थी? दीवार बिना शशि कपूर के हो सकती थी? तो इसे बच्चन जी जब भी एक्टिंग करते थे, एक 100 मीटर रेस में वो 50 मीटर के हैंडीकैप पे तो पहले थे. तो हम उस सीडी के रंग थे, हम वो अंग थे जिस पे वो चढ़ के जाते थे, तो क्या वो हमें कभी थैंक नहीं कर सकते थे? बट देन लुक एट द रिलेशनशिप दैट दे शेयर. I know for a fact that, and you know, one has spent, I hosted a dinner for Bachchan Saab, you know, when he won the National Award for Black at home in Delhi. And we were talking about his relationship with Rishi. And he always was very indulgent towards Rishi. So sometimes what we see is not what really exists. Sometimes what we say is said at the spur of the moment, but deep down. And now see the tribute वक्त ने जो किया, which Bachchan Saab has created as a both as a tribute to Rishi. So the point I'm making is that Rishi had the habit of saying things off the spur. Everyone knew that deep down the man had zero malice.
सलमान खान ने भी अपने ट्रिब्यूट में
उनमें कोई दर्द नहीं था. दर्द मीन्स कोई गुस्सा नहीं था. अगर गुस्सा था, इट वाज फॉर दैट मोमेंट, उसी समय के लिए. पर वो कभी ये नहीं सोचते थे कि यार मैं इसका कल बैंड बजाऊंगा. रात गई बात गई, बदनाम हुआ. वो सुभाष घई के टाइम बोलते थे, पर रात गई बात गई. एंड दैट वाज ऋषि कपूर's philosophy.
You know, Anvesh Bose is
ऋषि कपूर ने आपके बारे में क्या सोचते थे? अगर कोई आपको बताए कि आपके पीछे ये कह रहे थे, तो आप बोलेंगे सिर्फ इतनी कहा था, मुझसे तो उससे ज्यादा कहा था. There was nothing that it was all there, you know. He told you what he exactly thought, you know, and then it was forgotten, and you knew there was no malice.
No, so one day
you loved getting attacked by him. I really enjoyed it.
No, one day I'm talking about when we just first met. So he says, "Yaar, tu bhi bada muhphat hai." I said, "My late father told me never lie." I said, because if you lie, you have to remember what you have said. He always remembered that statement. यार ये साला बड़ा अच्छा स्टेटमेंट है. ऐसे अगर आप झूठ बोलोगे तो फिर आपको याद करना पड़ेगा, यार मैंने किसको क्या कहा था. You don't lie, you don't have to remember. But Rishi was that fine a human being. And you know, Asim talked about it, Sudhir talked about it. That was the same with Irfan. Success was his bedfellow. Success was not his controller. He was not subservient to success. He wasn't beholden to success. He was only beholden to two things: humanism / family, and to his craft, both of which he looked after brilliantly well.
जी, one of the questions that keeps coming, जो आते रहते हैं हमारे चैट में, और सुहेल जी आपके साथ शुरू कर सकते हैं. Which character of Rishi Kapoor and Irfan were closest to who they were as people? और ये सबसे हम जवाब लेंगे. पहले आपसे.
मैं तो आपको ये बोलूंगा एज एन एक्टर कि ये क्वेश्चन बहुत ही अच्छा है, पर बहुत ही गलत भी. मेरे ख्याल में ये पूछना कि भाई कौन सा कैरेक्टर आपके सबसे, क्योंकि उनने किसी ने अपने ऊपर कोई बायोपिक तो की नहीं, तो इट्स एन इंसल्ट टू द कैपेबिलिटीज एंड कैपेसिटी ऑफ एन एक्टर टू से ओ व्हिच वन इज एग्जैक्टली लाइक यू. इट्स लाइक आस्किंग डिनीरो, अरे व्हिच इज द क्लोजेस्ट यू बीन डिनीरो इन? Because if he answers that, it's like asking someone, when was the last time you beat your wife? If he says this was the character I was closest to, that means he wasn't acting the character he was supposed to play. So it's a trick question. जिन्होंने भी पूछा है, मैं उनको ये कहूंगा कि आप कल से अर्नब गोस्वामी के प्रोग्राम में शामिल हो जाइए, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही इंटेलिजेंट क्वेश्चन है, पर इसका कोई माने नहीं है. तो क्वेश्चन के लिए पूछ रहे हैं जो बहुत ही सही है, पर ये तो आप गर्दन काटने का क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, और मैं इसका जवाब तो हरगिज ही नहीं दूंगा.
अच्छा, सुधीर जी आप देंगे इसका जवाब, क्योंकि ये एक ही व्यक्ति ने नहीं, 2-3 लोगों ने ये पूछा है कि निजी जिंदगी में जो थे वो.
नहीं, सुहेल सही कह रहे हैं, ये सवाल ही गलत है. वैसे भी एक्टर का जो क्राफ्ट होता है वो कहीं अपने अंदर ही झांक के तो करता है सब कुछ.
करेक्ट.
कहां से झांक के करता है, कहां से करता है? वो अपने अंदर कुछ ढूंढता है ना, अपने कुछ कनेक्शन ढूंढता है. तो जिसको हिंदी में एक शब्द है पुट कहते हैं ना, तो हर जो उन्होंने कैरेक्टर किया उसमें कहीं इरफान की समझ है, कहीं याददाश्त है, कहीं कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन है, कुछ इरफान सब नहीं तो और हम काम कैसे करते हैं? कोई भी एक्टर कैसे काम करता है? लेकिन ये सवाल जो बिल्कुल, हर कैरेक्टर जो है उसमें कुछ इरफान है. हर फिल्म जो मैं बनाता हूं उसमें मैं हूं. कोई भी
हाँ,
character हो.
लिखने का भी वही है. Correct. There's a piece of you in everything that you do.
I think Irfan was like a writer almost. He's like
Okay.
a co-writer.
Hmm.
When I worked with him, he would suddenly do something which you had not expected at all. He was looking for a new way, So suddenly, he would suddenly turn away in a scene where most actors would look at the camera. Suddenly he would start walking away. So I would say, yeah, that was nice, So he said, but your camera position not. I said, no, camera position not fixed. I'm going to track back. That walking is brilliant. He was always looking for something. Sorry, my dogs.
I know. There are already people saying that the dogs have taken over.
Shut up.
This is like that BBC moment.
Yeah. Instead of the children here, the dogs have walked in.
I know.
Tishu Tigmanshu Dhulia, when I interviewed him, he told me that apart from him being very good friends with Irfan and the children were very good friends, their dogs were very good friends. So they would sometimes just bring the two dogs together at one place just to meet up.
Yeah, Irfan used to love animals, and feed there was always on his terrace some water for the birds in the summers. He had some cats, he was very, very, I don't think he believed in pets as much as animals being in the place where they should be,
Gee.
And
there are beautiful testimonials I was reading from Neetu Kapoor as well as his wife Supta Sikdar, she of course wrote along, she's a writer herself, wrote a very moving thank you note almost to the people who she said, you are not fans, you're family, because you've been part of this sort of process of grieving. And Neetu Kapoor put up a very heartbreaking
the end of our story
Instagram post wherein she posted a photograph of, yes, and she said the end of our story. And you really think about that, Suhail, क्योंकि उनका संपर्क ऋषि कपूर के साथ 14 साल की उम्र में हुआ. उनकी शादी आई थिंक वो 20 साल की थी या 21 साल की थी जब उनकी शादी हो गई. Today she is 61.
Such a rascal. So Rishi was dating a girl before he married Neetu. Okay? So this girl then told him that, look, what the hell are you doing? Why are you in films? This girl came from a posh Bombay family, blah, blah, blah. He and Neetu were acting in a film together. So he told Neetu, he says, why don't you mend my bridges with this girl? So Neetu said, fine, because that time there was nothing between Neetu and Rishi. Then he meets this girl who is out on a date with someone else, entering the elevator at the Taj in Bombay. Cut a long story short, he goes up, he had a chap called Ghanshyam. So he was pretty drunk, he had 5,000 rupees in his pocket. He sent this girl, who was his girlfriend who had dumped him, a bottle of champagne. And she rebuffed him and returned it. So Rishi then said, he says, what the hell? So there was a Parsi gentleman there, a Parsi server. So that Parsi server tells Rishi, he says, that lady has just rebuffed you. So who are you, or something like that. And he remembered that Parsi for the rest of his life with affection. That's who he was. So Rishi and Neetu became soulmates much later in that sense. But yes, you're absolutely right. There was no one who knew how to handle Rishi better than Neetu. Neetu knew when to give him his space. Neetu knew he had his idiosyncrasies, which she tolerated with great affection. I have never ever seen them, go at each other. I mean, Rishi would say something stupid and then withdraw. There was a great bonhomie. There was genuine love. And there was a celebration of life. Yeah, I'll tell you, overnight, they dropped everything and left Bombay for New York. And Neetu was missing her dogs. She was missing her life. But she stayed on. People came and visited them in New York, blah, blah, blah. Neetu had given up everything for this man who she adored and loved till his dying day. And same with Rishi. Rishi was not the kind who had a glad eye. Rishi was not the kind who had a roving eye. He was completely devoted to her. And he always said, he says, my relationship with my children will be the relationship my father had with me. I will never be a friend to my children. I will always be a parent to my children. So there was always that distance that he maintained. And Ranbir and all respected that.
I know. I mean, I've worked with Ranbir, so I can't imagine him being more different from his father, because when you are describing Rishi Kapoor, and I think of Ranbir, and there is a reticence to him. He's a reserved. He's not gregarious. He's not speaking out his mind. So they couldn't be very different. I mean, I think they're very different as personalities also. I mean, that's what I'm hearing over here. So I could definitely see that. I'm sorry, my internet is acting up today. It's been terrible. We've gone on for longer than we anticipated, but this has been such an interesting conversation. I can't tell you. I mean, my only regret is that I've had such a bad internet connection this whole evening. Unfortunately,
well, I mean, you can't, you can go on for the same length of time again with these two. I mean, this is.
Well, then maybe we should do that in Hindi next time.
Rishi Kapoor, I mean, this is, Rishi Kapoor, you could, I mean, Irfan, the journey of a man from North to here to international cinema. Rishi Kapoor represents Indian cinema in a sense, the history. I mean, I learned so much from him. I mean, I used to sit and just listen to him talk about Raj Kapoor and the way he directed and the way he loved his father. It was so much admiration. The way he, I mean, and the history of cinema, everybody else. He adored so many people. His relationship with Yash Chopra would have been, it was wonderful.
And his close friends, Prem Chopra, Rakesh Roshan,
Jitu Ji was his closest.
The other thing, Advaita, that shattered him. The one thing that really shattered him, two things actually. One is obviously he couldn't attend his mother Krishnaji's funeral. But when the fire at RK Studios happened,
right,
that kind of broke his heart. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was Ranbir Kapoor's 70th birthday. And obviously it was held at Deonar Court in Chembur. और उन्होंने जितने प्यार से ये organize किया था, and everyone was there, from Mr. Bachchan to all the oldies were there. And Rishi took it upon himself to be the host. He took it upon himself to make sure everyone ने खाना खाया, पिया तुमने, अभी ये पियो, वो पियो, ये वो.
The brothers were very close, na? So they're
extremely close. In fact, so much so that Dabbu would make the trip almost every alternate evening from Chembur to Pali Hill and then subsequently to Bandra, wherever that Elko, next to Elko, behind that there's a building where he lived.
Gee.
And it was great bonhomie. We would all meet up at Otters Club. And I remember there was a surprise birthday party for me in 2017 or 2018 opposite Otters Club. And I didn't even know. And Rishi and Ranbir both showed up. So there was no stardom when it came to friends. There was no ask when it came to relationships. And there was nothing that they needed from you other than unrequited love, other than unconditional love. In many ways, that was the measure of Irfan. Irfan needed nothing. Look at the greatness and the non-territorialness of an Irfan Khan. He takes Nawazuddin to meet Danny Boyle. I want to ask,
amazing, really?
Bollywood would take someone who is in the same craft and probably on path to the same level of talent.
Yes.
Someone
that was the hallmark of both of them, Irfan
and Rishi.
Very, very, full of admiration for the smallest actor. In the end, the way he was speaking about Deepak Dobriyal to me.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, even with Hindi medium, he always said, watch the second half. I remember in the interval, he said, second half, dekhega, Deepak is fantastic. He takes the whole film. I mean, he was, and so Rishi Kapoor, so full of admiration for the youngest director, for his film, sending them notes, talking to them, really these two. The other good friend of Rishi Kapoor and the guy who knows him perhaps better than most is Rahul Ravel.
Of course, I forgot to mention Rahul. Rahul was also...
Rahul Ravel knows him from when he was 17. He was an assistant, H.S. Ravel's son.
Correct.
And assistant from Bobby onwards. Made one of the few outside directors to make a film for Raj Kapoor.
Rahul was a permanent fixture as well.
So Rahul Ravel knows him, really knew him well, and I hope Rahul writes a book on Rishi Kapoor.
And Advaita, it's so interesting you're having this session today to celebrate these two greats on the 99th birth anniversary of perhaps one of the greatest filmmakers the world has ever seen, Satyajit Ray.
Yeah.
And I remember in 1992, I was in Ogilvy going to give him the Shiromani Puraskar Award on behalf of Asian Paints. And I remember what Satyajit Ray said. I was prepping for a play called Amadeus, where I was playing Salieri. So I asked him, because he was a great Mozart lover, he was a great pianist himself, Satyajit Ray. So I asked him, I said, Manikta, amake bolun. So I'm saying it in Bengali. I said, amake bolun. Theatre essentials ta ki. What is the essentials of theatre? And you know what he said? He says, remember, the weakest link has to be strengthened first. Because he or she can bring the whole play down.
Right.
You know what Sudhir talked about and what Asim talked about? That was the beauty about both Irfan and Rishi. They took everyone together. It was as if you brought them into an even keel. Because if one of those links was weak, you and your performance would be equally tarnished. And that is the greatness. Unlike many who I can name, but I will not, who go up to 34, 35 takes, and only when they were satisfied with their performance would tell the director, ye rakhiye. So, there are those.
Irfan loved to surprise himself as well in the moment. So he would work on his part. He knew the script by heart. He'd talk to you. He'd rip the script threadbare. He had argued and everything, but he would leave something for that moment. I remember one director, I was on a set, and a director was asking him before, कि कैसे करेंगे आप? So he said, यार मुझे भी नहीं पता कैसे करूँगा. वही होगा. He always loved to surprise himself as well.
नहीं, पर ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि इतने लोग जो लिख रहे हैं, फिल्मों के बारे में लिखते हैं, और असीम ये बता सकते हैं हमें कि नवाजुद्दीन और इरफान को काफी कंपेयर किया जाता था, और कहा जाता था कि नवाजुद्दीन तो उन्होंने मेरी फिल्म कहानी में भी काम किया, एंड दैट वाज कंसिडर्ड वन ऑफ हिज बिग ब्रेक थ्रू रोल्स एज खान. और लिखते समय मैंने खुद सोचा कि हाँ, इरफान खान भी इस रोल में हो सकते हैं. समटाइम्स एज अ राइटर यू हैव दैट इमेजिनेशन. तो मुझे तो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग लगा कि उन्होंने खुद नवाजुद्दीन को डैनी बॉयल के पास ले गए. आई मीन, डैनी बॉयल तो बहुत ही चर्चित निर्देशक हैं, बहुत बड़े निर्देशक हैं. So you have to be extremely secure about your craft.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And the hallmark of both these gentlemen was ultimately they were at peace with themselves. They were at peace with who they were, and they were at peace with what they had achieved. There was a yearning for better craftsmanship. There was a yearning for excellence, but there was no rapid greed for getting all that they can ensnare. So, in many ways, they were selfless, but selfish only when it came to protecting their craft and giving off their best to people who saw them on the screen or in theatre.
And now just looking to the future, and maybe I can start with Asim to answer this. The Kapoor dynasty is now in its, I believe, this would be the 4th generation with Ranbir Kapoor. And, going forward, what with the unfortunate, RK studio burning down, with that a lot of history, memorabilia, film history, really, because the Kapoor dynasty in itself has produced heartthrobs and screen icons in every decade of Indian cinema since independence. And that's no mean feat, from Prithviraj Kapoor to, Raj Kapoor, Shammi Kapoor, Shashi Kapoor. One can go Rishi Kapoor, now Ranbir. What do you think lies ahead for this film dynasty? Is it?
Well, there is, Ranbir is at the top of his game. He hasn't done a film for the last couple of years because he's doing this very big project with Ayan Mukherjee. Kareena is still acting. She's doing really, really interesting work. Obviously, she became a mother, and things start to slow down. We just have to see what happens if their children take off. Really, I mean, Reema Jain, that's Rishi Kapoor's sister, right?
Yes.
Her sons are trying to break in also.
Adar is trying to break in. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. So, I mean, they haven't had that kind of success as what Ranbir had. And Ranbir had a big launching pad, really. You know, the first film itself was with Sanjay Leela Bhansali. But Ranbir evolved into a very, very fine actor. In fact, I have to say that even finer than his grandfather and his father in some ways, really. But we have to see what the next generation will be like, whether they want to be, you know, whether, first of all, whether the film industry will accept them, because, you know, there is no RK banner now to launch them. You know, so if anybody who launches them, or if they get a chance, do a lot with their own skills, because, you know, you cannot just say that I'm Raj Kapoor's grandson. I mean, look, Shashi Kapoor, who was Prithviraj's son and Raj Kapoor's younger brother, had to struggle so much till he started getting work, really. So they've all had, you know, we have to wait and see, really. We have to wait and see.
You know, I mean, when you bring up Ranbir, my own interactions with him, I remember I was trying to explain a film concept to him, and you know, I was not finding the right words, and I managed to, you know, tell him maybe a sentence or two, and he immediately got back to me and he says, "Oh, Jagte Raho, that's the reference," and it was his grandfather's film, and I said, yeah, that's it. I said, that's it. That's exactly the sentiment and the moment I'm looking for. So I actually even see a director in him, and I don't know. I mean, he's a movie star right now, and I think he has a long innings. But I think he's very tuned that way, and has a deep appreciation for especially his grandfather's films, from what I could tell. And Sudhirji, there's a question for you. This is Mr. Vineet Pandey. He wants to know how difficult is it going to be to fill the void created after Irfan's demise, given his versatility and commitment?
You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there will definitely be some films that will not be made because Irfan's not around. There definitely will.
Oh, really?
The way, I mean, sometimes, you know, an actor provokes you. Sometimes, you know, because he's around, you know, I mean, see, how do we, I mean, this is a collaborative art. So, I mean, you sit with somebody in an evening, you know, and one conversation leads to another, an idea. Somebody says, let's do this. Irfan says, what about that? What about the reference of that film? What about, so somebody says, oh, yesterday, the conversation we're having, should we do something like this? And Irfan says, that's great. And a film would have been born, maybe, right? So because he was such a collaborator, some films will not get made, you know, but, you know, I mean, he will inspire and other actors will come, I guess, but very hard shoes. I mean, very difficult to be, it's the journey. Being Irfan is a quest, you know. It's his life. He's like I mean, I don't know. Maybe he'd laugh if I say this because he was his life is like a poem. I mean, he's such a guy. I mean, it's so difficult to be because, you know, ultimately people see the end product, but just the journey, the exploration, where he came from, what he rejected about his background, what he accepted, what he took from other people, the way he enriched himself, the way his humility in front of the medium. It's very difficult being Irfan Khan. I mean, it's not easy, so it won't be easy to film. I mean, and so the same for Rishi Kapoor. You know, I mean, they were self-deprecatory also a lot of times, but they were unique. Both of them are. You can't be. I mean, there's no Rishi Kapoor. It's not possible.
बेटा, आपके प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से और आपकी आवाज जो इतनी बुलंद है, उससे आप सरकार को कहिए जो नेक्स्ट इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल इन गोवा होगा ना,
जी,
not to do the normal kind of tribute. Actually have a festival of paradoxes. The paradox of Rishi Kapoor and an Irfan. And then see what the commonalities and what the genius of these two, who did perhaps different genres at times and obviously at different ages. But what was the beauty of the craft and the repertoire that they brought to the magical screen?
नहीं, अभी तो कोविड के साथ तो it's looking difficult कि कुछ होगा भी कि नहीं. But I think a tribute is definitely in order, and I mean, Asim is the expert on film festivals here.
Asim, आप करिए.
नहीं करेंगे जी. The things have to just change and improve. Definitely. Irfan and, of course, you guys all know Irfan and Rishi actually acted in a film together.
Yeah.
Nikhil Advani ki D-Day. It's a very fine film. They were brilliant, both of them in it. They were both very good in it.
In fact, sadly, one clip from that film when they're both in that car.
Yeah, it's been playing since.
And people were saying Alvida, and they were both traveling as if they were going on, and they were, to their next.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a tough week, but I think just this session has made me feel so much better, and it's made me want to write, to be very honest.
Good.
And listening to all of you contribute in different ways, listening to Sudhir speak with his director's eye and his fine eye for the moment and the scene, and Asim, of course, for getting the book done on somebody who was fascinating, really. I mean, it's just incredible. And Suhail, just so many conversations, memories. I wish you would write a book on all these wonderful people that you have known and had such meaningful interactions with. I really, really thank you all, and I give back the mic to all of you for any last comments, should you have them.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for helping us relive and cherish memory of wonderfully talented human beings who gave so much of themselves for us to cherish them for the rest of our lives and beyond. So thank you, Advaita, for bringing together people like Asim and Sudhir, who come with their own levels of excellence, and for including me as this kebab.
No surprise element. Guest. You are a surprise guest, and you actually got here before Sudhir did. So,
Advaita, can I just say one thing? I mean, of course,
a film who doesn't get paid.
Advaita, I wanted to thank you, of course, for arranging this thing. But I think what I was thinking while this was going on, we've been laughing a lot. Now, the day Irfan died is going to happen to me again. I cried. I mean, reading comments, even yesterday, Sutapa's the note that she posted, and Rishi's death added another layer to it. I mean, as a journalist, one can step aside, but these actors, they have such an impact on your life. I wrote about how they are friends, and just we've lost two very close friends, although they were not very close to me as such. But I'm glad that we had a chance to celebrate them right now. I'm glad we've laughed. We told funny stories about Rishi Kapoor because those are very important, really. And I'm glad this is very cathartic for all of us, I think, really. I'm so glad you did this.
Thank you. And I mean, I want a happier occasion to have all of you back on here again, because I think we've just had such a wonderful session. Today, we've, of course, spoken about two very, very special people.
ये लोग क्या कमाल के हम लोग को कुछ मतलब इरफान तो दोस्त था यार, बहुत था, तो मैं तो जिंदगी में आया बहुत. ऋषि जी, आई मीन ये लोग हमारी जिंदगी में नहीं होते तो हम वो नहीं होते जो हम हैं. और ये सिर्फ मैं ही नहीं कह रहा हूँ, ये बहुत लोग कहेंगे. देखिए, असर उनका बहुत लोगों पे है
जी.
इरफान का होगा, लेकिन हर आदमी जो इरफान के ताल्लुक में आया वो कहीं ना कहीं बेहतर बना.
एक्चुअली
जिसको इरफान ने रिजेक्ट भी किया, सोच के कुछ सिखा गया इरफान उसको, उसकी जिंदगी कुछ सिखा गई. और ऋषि जी जैसा तो इंसान था ही नहीं, तो मैं तो बहुत खुशनसीब मानता हूं कि उन्होंने कुछ मुझे अपने करीब आने दिया. That he allowed me those moments in the Palian house, that he allowed me, he's accepted so readily to do my film. I'm so sad that it didn't happen, but
you shot for it also a little bit, Sudhir. Mernissa, I remember you had you'd done the recce. You'd gone to Lucknow and everything. Sab ho gaya tha, and you were, yeah. So I remember that.
I'm so grateful to him for having, for letting me go into enter his life, and his memories and his knowledge, And his
what you
bonhomie and his.
Sudhir
And his
ji, what
yeah.
you said is very significant because you left your town, small town, in the 1980s and moved to Bombay in the early 80s, wanting to make a career and a name for yourself, like so many young people who come into that city. And the Kapoors were basically Bollywood royalty. So in that sense, the fact that he was so engaging and warm and reached
never,
out
never
to
once, never once did he make me feel that.
right.
Never once did he make me feel that he was royalty.
But
I mean, he always made you feel that he was who he was. He always wanted to. I mean, he would have eaten you alive if you disrespected Raj Kapoor.
Right. Yeah, on TV,
It's not. But he was always willing to hear the opposite side. He was quite unique, and this is so sad that we kind of realize so many things about a person after he passes. It's kind of odd, but he was.
I was watching Ramesh Sippy on TV, who had like the famous, of course, for Sholay, and he worked with Rishi Kapoor. I think it was in Sagar, sorry. And he said that when the first day on set, he was calling him Chintu, 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 and it seems Rishi Kapoor kind of ticked him off and said that this is we're at work, so don't call me Chintu.
It's true. It's a true anecdote.
Yes.
I just want to draw on Shakespeare with the indulgence of Asim, Sudhir, and you, and say Shakespeare summed it up brilliantly at the end of Caesar, and it's applicable to both these gentlemen. Antony said of Brutus, and it's true of Irfan Khan and Rishi Kapoor, the elements were so mixed in them that nature might stand up and say to all the world, these were men.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, Othello's last line, soft you a word or two before I go.
Yes.
I've done the state some service, and they know it. Right?
Thank you so much, Advaita.
Oh my God, this has been such a beautiful session. I'm going to insist that the three of you come back, and I'm going to think of another topic, which is something we can talk about because I mean today I was going to be healing for everybody.
But do you know that the two people whom we are talking about inspire this, right?
Right, I know.
Not possible to talk about everything in the same way.
Yeah, because you made it so healing.
There is no Rishi Kapoor, so I mean, no other Rishi Kapoor. So how could you talk about like this? You can't talk about anyone else, right?
Yeah.
And you know Irfan Khan. Right?
Yeah, because I think just listening to you all has been so healing because people are experiencing a lot of losses. But I know, Sudhir, you've also experienced a very, very deep loss very recently. I personally also lost a very dear friend right before the lockdown started. So I think it's just that period of loss. And this has been very helpful and very healing and uplifting. So I want to really thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Giving your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sudhir. Thanks, Advaita.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. This went on longer than we anticipated, but can you blame me for not stopping? So, thank you so much.
All right. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good evening and stay safe.
You too. Stay safe.
Stay home. Stay home. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.